Hey, there we are, guys. How's it going? It's Gavin Syme here, and I just thought I'd do a quick live stream. Shout out to you guys tonight. It's Sunday evening, starting to get dark out here, out in the garage, and I made a post. I made a post on Facebook earlier, and I was talking about how we're thinking like slaves. America's a nation of slaves because we don't think like we're free, and I just wanted to do a quick stream to talk to you guys about that. Stop thinking you're free. Stop thinking you have a Second Amendment when if you carry the wrong gun or in the wrong place, you go to prison. Stop thinking you have a First Amendment when if you protest and they don't like it, they kill you. Stop thinking you have a Fourth Amendment when your assets can be seized by this government without due process, and when men like Joe Robertson can be put in jail, in prison, because they built a pond on their property. Stop thinking you have the right to due process when people like the Hammonds are in prison for burning weeds on their property. I see you guys. I see you there. We have to stop thinking like slaves. America thinks like slaves. And we run around, we strut our stuff, and we say, well, I'm free. I think like I'm free. We don't think like we're free in this country. A man who thinks free acts like he is free. A man who thinks free doesn't simply sit around and talk about all the conspiracies. He sees the conspiracy in front of them. He sees the blue line violating people. He sees the judges violating people. And he goes out and he resists with principle and peace. He loves his neighbor and he stands up for them. Stop pretending that legal circles and games and filing motions and paperwork in lawless fake courts will make us free. Stop pretending that if we write the right posts on Facebook or if we join the right clubs or the right faction that we'll be free. Stop pretending you have constitutional rights when this government recognizes none of our rights. Start recognizing that our rights are inherent. Guys, my rights, they come from above. My rights are natural. They're God-given. Now, you can believe however you want. Maybe you don't believe they're God-given, but they're still your rights. Your life and your liberty and your property. It doesn't matter if you're black or white or Native American or left or right. If you stand up and you defend people's rights, you're for liberty. If you stand and you violate people's rights, you're for slavery. If you stand around and you pat yourselves on the back and you say, wow, I am so free, at least we're still free. In this country, you're a slave. You're a slave. I see your comments in there. And look, John Locke, read John Locke. Get back to the basics. Stop worrying. I get so frustrated because people are always carrying on to me about this conspiracy or that conspiracy, or we need to know this, right? Or you need to file a court paperwork that way. No, you need to stop thinking like slaves. A slave petitions the tyrant for freedom. A free man goes to the tyrant and knocks them off their throne. And then he gives that tyrant the due process that they denied him. That's what a free man does. Listen, you know what? You know why? There's a difference between people who actually defend liberty, like the Bundys, like the natives at DAPL, like Lavoy Finicum, like Schaefer Cox and Jeff Winehouse. You know why they come after those people? You know why they come after us? You know why there's all these trolls in our feeds calling us names and saying we're this or saying we're that when all we do is stand up for liberty? Because they don't want to hear it. They don't want a simple message. If you've got a complex message of some magic words that you're going to use in a courtroom, or if you've got a complex message that's about faction or political party or hating this group or that group, they're not going to mess with you too much because they like you. The tyrants like you because you think like a slave. Glad you're out of jail, bro. Look, going to jail is not a shameful thing anymore. Be ashamed if you do wrong to someone. But the only thing about our justice system and jails that are a shame is the jails themselves, the concentration camps we call jails that even people who have done bad things do not deserve to be subjected to. No one deserves to have cruel and unusual punishment and torture. So I was thinking about this post I made over on the Facebook page, and people talking about it, and I said, stop thinking like a slave. Stop pretending you have rights when the government recognizes none of them. Start recognizing that we are a nation of slaves and that we have to resist that with principle, and that is when you start thinking free. The man who's out resisting the blue line with principle, standing up to them, getting in the cop's face, getting in the judge's face. You know what I do? Because I think free, I walk up to cops on the street and I say, who do you think you are, you little tyrant? You little syndicate thug. I go to the judges and I say, you're a criminal. You're violating the law. You're not a real judge. You go to your politicians and you stop saying, well, because they're from our faction, they're going to be on our side, even as they violate you. Stop pretending that those who oppress you are the ones who will set you free, and start thinking like a free man. Not just from government. Stop being a slave to your own passions. Stop being a slave to your sin and your distractions. Start controlling yourself. Start fighting back against your own demons and the ones in government. Now, for my part, I appeal to heaven and try to find the courage to make that stand. You're going to have to figure out how you make your stand, but make no mistake, you don't get free by acting like Americans do today. You don't get free by talking like Texans, saying, oh, we're so free, nobody messes with us, when you're getting kicked in the head by a tyrant's boot. You be free by thinking like a free man. There's no greater slave than the slave who thinks he is free. There's no greater slave than the slave who thinks he is free. I'm a slave and you're a slave if you're in America. We're a nation of slaves. We're a nation of slaves. You know how you break those chains? We start thinking like free people. We start loving our neighbor. We start standing up. We quit worrying about the baiting and the trolls. You guys, you know why I don't argue with the trolls and the baiters? You know why I don't play the games, and why people who get things done don't play those games? Because there's no time for them. Because they think like free men. If you're getting sucked into all the rabbit holes and playing the games and the conspiracy's right here. It's right in front of you. They're not even hiding anymore. The conspiracy is a government who completely and utterly violates human rights in every trial. Every member of the blue line who refuses to stop it. Every judge in every court in every trial violating the rights of due process. So you want to be free? You want America to be a free nation? Because it's not right now. You want to be a free nation, you got to start thinking like free people. Because America's a nation of slaves. And the first step to recovery is to admit the truth, to start speaking the truth, to start being willing to offend people. What happened to the America? What happened to the men who were actually willing to speak out on something other than sports? Who were actually willing to make someone angry with them by telling them the truth? What happened to the men and women who were willing to stand up to bullies and say, that's not okay? Start being free and stop thinking like a slave. You guys either get it or you don't. I don't need to keep repeating it. I'm going to let you go. Go out and have a good night. Start standing up. Not just here. Thinking free starts here. It comes out of your mouth like a sword of truth, but it goes into your actions on the street. You have to be principled, righteous, just, compassionate, loving your neighbor as yourself, and you have to stop thinking like a slave, or you'll never, ever be free. Have a good night.